Okay, let's dive deep into cybersecurity. It's really hitting the mainstream now, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's gone way beyond just, tech problems.
We've been looking at the sources, and they show it's now driving geopolitics, causing huge economic problems, and getting scarily personal, too.
That's right. Looking across the material, you basically see two main fronts opening up.
Yeah.
You've got these great magnitudes, big attacks on critical systems, supply chains.
Yeah, the huge stuff.
And then you have what the sources call the small private battles. Think sophisticated cybercrime, now seriously boosted by AI going after individuals, small businesses.
And what's really striking is how connected those two levels are. Like a tiny software flaw can suddenly ground flights across Europe.
Exactly. Or the same AI that clones a CEO's voice for a massive fraud can, be used to trash an ordinary employee's reputation.
So the core question for you, listening right now, is what do you actually need to know?
Yeah, what's essential to stay informed, whether you're running a business or just trying to keep your own data safe in this, well, pretty chaotic landscape.
Okay, let's unpack some of that volatility. Let's start big with those large-scale incidents like the airport attacks we saw recently.
Yes. Dublin, Berlin, Brussels, Heathrow, all hit during that period of, let's say, heightened geopolitical tension with Russia.
Right. What exactly happened there? Was it a direct hit on the airports?
Well, the sources show it was ransomware, definitely coordinated. But interestingly, they didn't hit the airports directly.
No. So how did they cause the disruption?
They targeted a company called Collins Aerospace. They make this software, Muse, I think, handles electronic billing, boarding passes for a bunch of airlines.
Ah, so a supply chain attack. Hit a supplier to get to the main target.
Precisely. It's a classic move. Find the weaker link, in this case, a secondary actor to cripple the primary target, which is critical travel infrastructure.
But why them specifically? Collins Aerospace? Was it just random or?
Doesn't seem random. Digging into it, Collins Aerospace had just signed a pretty significant deal with a NATO communications agency.
NATO. Okay, what kind of deal?
They were supplying electronic warfare planning software. Basically, tools to plan and coordinate military electronic activities, like jammers and sensors.
Wow. Okay, so targeting them wasn't just about money then.
Probably not just money. By hitting Collins, the attackers could have been aiming for disruption, maybe even some reconnaissance, or just sending a strategic signal about that NATO contract. Geopolitics definitely feels like part of the picture.
Which brings up that tricky issue. Attribution. State-sponsored versus cybercriminals just out for cash. How do we even tell the difference anymore?
That is probably the hardest part of cybersecurity analysis today. I mean, an attack looks financial, they demand a ransom, right?
Yeah.
But what if a state actor wants to cause chaos for, say, a NATO country? They could easily enable a ransomware group, maybe even feed them vulnerabilities.
And they get the disruption they wanted, but with clean hands. Plausible deniability.
Exactly. The state gets its strategic goal, the criminals get paid, and nobody can pin it directly on the government. So yeah, we have to look at major financial attacks through that geopolitical lens now.
Okay, so that's the big picture chaos. But let's talk pure economics for a second, because the financial damage can be just as devastating. Take Jaguar Land Rover.
Oh, the JLR incident? Yeah, that should be required reading for any business leader.
Production halted for 2 weeks. That sounds bad.
It was way beyond bad. The sources called it a national crisis in the UK. Think about how much the regional economy depends on car manufacturing.
And the cost.
Yeah.
The numbers I saw were just unbelievable.
Yeah, they estimated about 72,000 lost for every single car not made. And they make roughly 1,000 cars a day.
So, carry the one. That's 72 million euros.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Correct. 72 million a day just vanishing. And
Yeah.
it didn't stop there.
Well,
The whole region, the West Midlands, has something like 200,000 jobs tied to that auto supply chain. One report mentioned an unnamed supplier had to lay off nearly half its staff almost immediately just because JLR stopped building cars. That's how fast the dominoes fall. Cybersecurity isn't just about data. It's about jobs, economic stability.
so if the consequences are that severe, what's the big lesson? What did companies like JLR miss? Was it like not having good backups or something?
It often comes down to something more fundamental. It's about seeing security as just a cost, something you do once, instead of, a vital ongoing investment.
Like business insurance, but for digital operations.
Kind of, yeah. The experts we looked at suggest a healthy company should spend maybe around 3% of its total annual turnover just on cybersecurity. Infrastructure, maintenance, the works.
3%. That sounds like a lot. Do companies actually do that?
Very few multinationals actually hit that number, honestly, which is worrying.
So if a company is spending that 3%, what are they buying? What does that advanced defense look like beyond just firewalls?
Good question. They're investing heavily in things like network segmentation, basically making sure that if one part of the system gets hit by ransomware,
It can't spread everywhere else.
exactly, it contains the damage. And the other big one is super resilient backups and recovery plans. Think immutable storage, stuff that can't be easily deleted or altered by attackers.
So they can get back online in hours, not weeks, like JLR.
That's the goal, fast recovery. Security needs to be, well, rational, constant, and probably increasing year on year because the threats definitely are.
Okay, that makes sense for big, complex organizations. But sometimes the problems are almost embarrassingly simple, right? Like that weird incident in Valencia.
Ah, the Turia garden sprinklers. Yes. It's almost funny if it weren't also a bit worrying.
What happened there again?
Basically, the city's water management system got messed with because someone hacked the irrigation system for a public park, the sprinklers.
Seriously, sprinklers? How?
The breach was apparently traced back to Russian IP addresses. Somehow they got in and made the system go haywire.
What? Hang on. Why on earth is a sprinkler system connected to the public internet in the first place? That seems like the real question here.
It really does. It highlights that low-hanging fruit problem. Maybe someone wanted remote access for maintenance, which is convenient, sure.
But not secure.
Not without basic protections, like simply blocking incoming connections from IP ranges in countries that have zero legitimate reason to access your city's sprinkler controls. Russia, China, wherever.
That seems really basic.
It was basic network hygiene. The analysis suggested that failing to do even simple IP blocking like that often leaves the door wide open, even for, pretty novice hackers. It's negligence causing potentially significant issues, not some super advanced attack.
Right. So we've got everything from state-level actors hitting NATO suppliers down to badly secured sprinklers. That's quite the range.
It covers the spectrum.
Okay, let's shift gears now to maybe the fastest moving threat, the one that's really starting to undermine trust everywhere. AI-powered fraud. Deepfakes.
Ah, yes. This is where things get really tricky. All the old advice, look for bad spelling in the email, check the sender address that's becoming obsolete fast.
Because the fakes are getting too good.
Way too good, especially voice cloning. The sources mention you only need 3 or 4 seconds of someone's audio now to create a highly convincing clone.
3 or 4 seconds. Wow.
Yeah. And over a low-quality line, like a WhatsApp call. Almost impossible to tell it's fake.
Which leads straight to scams.
Right.
Like that Spanish radio host, Luis Vicente Munoz.
Exactly. His voice, his image, cloned perfectly. The reports said 100% convincingly to push fake investment schemes. People trust the familiar face, the familiar voice. It creates this dangerous false security.
And this isn't even entirely new, is it? I remember reading about that UK company a couple of years back.
Oh, yeah, the one that lost $24 million. Because employees got Teams calls from what looked and sounded exactly like their bosses telling them to make urgent transfers.
Synthetic avatars of their bosses. It sounds like science fiction, but it happened.
It did. And the scary thought is, if people still click on obvious phishing links, what chance do they have against a perfect deepfake? It just bypasses all our usual suspicion triggers.
It's not just about direct financial theft either, is it? There's a reputational angle, too.
Definitely. The sources brought up deepfake cyberbullying. Imagine a fake video appearing online of one of your employees bad-mouthing your products or company policy.
Oof. Yeah, that would be a nightmare to manage.
Total nightmare. The damage to the company's image, the internal trust issues, the cleanup after something like that is incredibly complex, way beyond just the technical side.
So what's the defense then, if the old rules don't apply?
Well, that's the challenge. We need a new paradigm. It probably involves new tech things like digital watermarking on official communications, maybe blockchain verification, even behavioral biometrics to spot anomalies.
Tech to fight tech, basically.
Essentially, yes. But the tech needs to catch up, and so do the laws and privacy regulations around it. Right now, the ability to create these fakes is way ahead of our ability to manage the fallout.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, we've gone from huge geopolitical plays disrupting aviation right down to AI cloning your voice from a few seconds of audio. What's the big takeaway for someone listening?
I think the main message has to be that security isn't a project you finish. It's not a checklist. It's It's a constant, active process you need just to keep things running, whether things means your business or just your personal life online.
Stay vigilant constantly.
And focus your efforts. Forget anyone promising 100% security. That's snake oil. It doesn't exist. Invest smartly. Protect your most valuable assets first. Good segmentation, strong backups like we talked about.
And the basics too, right? Like the sprinkler system lesson.
Absolutely. Don't neglect the basics. Multi-factor authentication everywhere you can, sensible access controls, that basic IP blocking we mentioned. That stuff genuinely stops a huge chunk of common attacks. It's the foundation.
Right. There was an interesting observation in the material that people often don't really change their security habits until they personally get hit hard, until they experience that system failure or lose money or have their identity stolen.
Yeah, that's often true, unfortunately. We learn the hard way.
So thinking about these AI threats, the deepfakes that can mimic us perfectly, evolving so fast, here's the final thought for you. Will we, collectively, as businesses, as a society, actually adapt our security culture quickly enough? Or are we heading for some really widespread, painful losses before we truly wake up and make the fundamental changes needed?
That is the critical question, isn't it? Will we learn proactively or reactively?
Something to think about.